Feel me.
The way my son has his seat so low to the ground in his car, and I barely can see over the steering wheel, but I hate when people change my... No. Don't talk about your brother? All right. I won't talk about big bro. The juice? All right. I'll open it for you when we stop. But, like, I gotta, like, sit up and hold the steering wheel if I want to see over the steering wheel. And the thing is, he's not even that much taller than me, so I don't even understand why his seating is like this. But you know what? I've heard somebody ask me why my seat is all the way back and I'm small, but like, it's so like when I get to like rest stops, I could do this. But men really drive like they sit in the back seat instead of being in the front. But he got this steering wheel on here, this Nissan steering wheel, and it feels really good. I remember when I had purchased a steering wheel cover, and he kept on telling me he hated it. So as soon as he got the car, like, he changed the steering wheel cover, he got coasters for it, he's updating the, I guess, the electronic systems, he said. He's changing the tints, so I have like 5% tints on my back window and the back passenger window, but I have 20% on the front windows. And I did it for two reasons. One, because I can't see well out of 5% at night angle. Because if I turn my head and I'm checking my blind spot, I won't be able to see the car that's in my blind spot. Because I have astigmatism, and it's like I have very low visibility at night. But he's gonna take them down. I think he's doing 15%. No, he might do 15% in the front, because I do realize you definitely can see through my front. I thought you couldn't until one day I was watching him driving. I was like, oh yeah, I could see you. And for me, tints are great for visibility, because I need to also keep a lot of the UV rays out of the car when you're driving. My dermatologist told me that I have to wear sunblock even if I'm going to be driving all the time, because the rays are still getting in. I do believe I could get a prescription for it. I saw somewhere someone was saying that you could get a prescription for your tints, and I never explored it, but that may be something I explore with my dermatologist, although I really can't see well through them, so I'd rather just get something that I can see and remember to wear my sunblock. Even though he's sitting with, like, he got the mirror set, like, it's, you know what? He's a smart little boy. I had to take his car this morning because I got boots on my car again, and I need to drop the baby off to school. And by the time they come to remove the boots, it'll be too late. And I didn't wake up at 6 this morning because I wasn't feeling well. And of course, when I fell asleep, she decided to take run of the house, and she left bed. I woke up. She wasn't in the bed, and she was out and about running around. So it's a gloomy day, but it most likely is gonna, down here, a gloomy day doesn't last long. So it's gloomy right now, but I'm sure the sun is gonna come out. My stomach is cramping. I know my cycle is about to start because it feels like someone is drop kicking me in my crotch. And I kind of want some chocolate. I've been craving food, and I've been getting all the things I've been craving. The other day I wanted tacos, but the taco restaurant is this, I like going to authentic Mexicans for my tacos. I don't like that infused tacos, or the like an American that put a twist on it after they went to Mexico. No, I want the tacos the way your abuela used to make it, even when she used to make it back in Mexico, when she was flattening tortillas on the rocks, on the hot rocks. Give me that one. So I've been finding authentic Mexican restaurants to get tacos from, and once you start eating authentic tacos, you don't want none of that. I don't want Taco Bell. I don't want Chipotle. I don't want none of that. Like, not Tijuana Flats. I want Abuelita's tacos. That's who I want. So one place I went to the other night, they shut down, I guess they went out of business. And I was like, oh. But a lot of small businesses, like, even though we opened up back outside, as a result of the pandemic and the hit that they took, it's very hard for them to make it up. So they're still struggling. So I do try to support more family-owned businesses, because I understand that the money is going right into the pockets of the family, as opposed to a franchise where it's going to a corporation. When I get home, I'm going to do some laundry. I have a bunch of laundry to do. When I say I have a bunch of laundry to do, I'm talking about like 3 bags. I don't even know how I accumulate. Actually, you know what? Yes, I do. The light just changed. Relax. You know, you lucky I got someplace to go, or else I would have rolled my brake and would have kept you there at the damn light. Hate when people do stuff like that. Like, it's like the light just changed. It don't even give you a chance to get your foot off the brake that they want to honk. Yeah. And I'm going to go real slow. Bless you, baby. It sounds like that you have boogers in that one. Because if you late to drop your kid off to school, that's your business. You know what time they had to be there. But you don't rush other people. I hate that. I hate when the light just changes and you beeping. Like, relax. Relax. I could understand, like, if I'm, like, just sitting there and I'm holding the light, but I'm not. Look at the new Scentbird. Like, Scentbird has, like, upgraded their packaging. Sometimes I put this on pause because I just have too much and I don't use it. I need 2 hands for this. Hold on. You know what? I don't need hands when I got thick thighs. Like, they have, like, it's rubber, right? And then it's like, it says lock, unlock. I was just looking at let me go down. I think when you press it down, it then allows you to release this is the catch, and it releases oh my God, this is hard. It releases the bottle, and the bottle's supposed to come out, but let me see. Is it just the top right now? Wait, how do you spray this? Not me struggling. How am I supposed to take this out? Oh, it is spraying, but where is it spraying from? Oh, the mist comes out of here. There's a mister here. Okay. This is the mister. So how do you remove it, like, when it's done? Let me see what scent this was they sent me. This says get a room and order of champagne. It has raspberry, mandarin, jasmine, patchouli, and vanilla. Okay. I'm very much in my sweet scents, like, era. Let me see. How to refill, how to unlock and lock. Okay, so you just pull it apart to refill. Okay. Well, I'm not sure if I'm going to... Actually, I was going to say I'm not sure I'm going to continue my Scentbird subscription, but I am. Because I spend $15 a month on random things. I think at least this is an investment. It helps me. And I like these for traveling too. And I love this new packaging. This new packaging is so sleek. Oh, look. Oh my God. I was making my life difficult. I was making my life difficult. Look at this. Just see. Look at me. No. Look at me. No.
times she done looked over here.
I just got my windows tinted, and now I'm gonna have to remember for the next 3 days not to roll my window down, even though Mommy, I love going through a drive-through. Yes, baby? Green. It's green? Yes. I'm just sitting in the car having my breakfast. I don't feel like going inside and sitting down to eat. At a certain time of the day, the sun doesn't shine directly inside, so it doesn't give me the same illuminescence that I get from being outside directly in the sunlight, looking at the trees, the ambiance. I guess I could sit on my patio, but it's something about being a mom and coming home and sitting in the car before you get in the house. It's just top tier. This morning, I was looking at this video. It talks about your paralyzed potential, how there's things that you talk yourself out of doing because you tell yourself it's not the right time, and how sometimes you just got to jump in and do it. And that's a great message for me to hear, especially going into 2023. There's a lot of things in life that happens to you, and there's other things in your life that you are not intentional about, so that's why it's happening. And I'm trying to ensure that I'm intentional with everything that I do, and I'm just not letting life happen to me. There was this conversation I had about learning how to be selfish. I'm not a selfish person naturally. I had to learn how to set boundaries after a while. I also had to learn how to prioritize myself, but just the pure art of selfishness, where a lot of self-preservationists have, I don't have that. And I think back to my relationships where I was just a people pleaser, where I entered into certain situations because I had low self-esteem, where I didn't have a sense of self-worth. I didn't have a sense of value. I didn't recognize my value. So I kind of tolerated and accepted a certain things because of that. And I was hoping to be saved. I had this like fairy tale idea that someone would, if I loved someone enough, they would see me for me, and then that they would be able to like reciprocate that love. And that's a part of trauma. That's a part of having anxious attachment style, being codependent. You know, when you have a lot of trauma and you haven't unpacked that trauma and learned from it. So those are common responses. I was watching this video clip of Krishan Rock on B. Simone and Megan's podcast, and that's what that situation reminded me of, because there was a part where they asked her, is she ready to have a baby? And she, like, you know, her response was essentially she thinks she's ready, but she didn't really think it all the way through. Like, she wanted it because she's ready. And most of the time in our communities, we have children out of obligation because we think that's what we're supposed to do, not because we understand the weight of the decision that we're making. And I can say for myself, that is true. Growing up, children were presented as an obligation. If you're a woman, you had children, that was your purpose. No one really sat and said, this is the structural dynamics of parenting, and this is the systems that should be in place in order for you to have children to facilitate a healthy environment. Or these are the characteristics in an individual that you need to look for, you need to partner with in order to produce a healthy environment for the children. These are the characteristics that human being need to have, and this is how these characteristics are going to translate into parenting. No one prepared me for parenting. Everyone prepared me for motherhood. In fact, I recalled a friend of mine graduated high school at 18, childless, and her entire family automatically asked her when she was going to have kids, because the next step after graduating high school was, you made it, so now you can have a kid. And it's kind of crazy that in our community that we have this step ladder of how we get women to repeat the same bad decisions over and over again through generations. And now I find this is one of the first generations where women are just not arbitrarily having children. They're thinking about their comfort. They're thinking about their financial capabilities. They are noticing that, yes, if I have this child, there's a big responsibility that's going to be on me to raise this child, because a man can get up and walk out whenever he feels like it, but a woman is stuck. And not necessarily saying that you're not going to enjoy motherhood, even if you have to raise your children by yourself. Because one of the things my mom told me when I was younger, do not have any children that you could not afford to take care of by yourself. Now, that advice is very problematic, because I may be able to afford to take care of children by myself, but I should not have to. And if you're ever like me, where you have to raise a child with a narcissistic parent, you are going to be put through circumstances and situations in which you have to referee for your child that you should not have to. And a lot of men, when they cannot have access to the mother, when they cannot control the behavior, when they cannot control the decision of the mother, pass it out on their children. And they will pass it out on their children through either extreme neglect, withdrawal of financial obligations, or just be a present absent parent. And I don't think people understand that just because a mother or father is present in the life of their children does not make them a good parent. And when your children grow up and they come to that realization themselves, because when children grow up, they can see who's the consistent parent. they can then ascertain certain information for themselves through their own experiences, and they're able to make their own decisions based on how both of their parents interact with them. The other parent tend to try to blame or, project onto the other parent that how their children feel about them, when in reality, like, no one ever wants to take a look at their actions. I remember when I was younger, I was mad at both of my parents because my mother left my country. She came here, and then my dad, he would periodically, be out and about and living his life. And for a long time, I was upset at my mother for leaving the country and going away and not coming back for a long time. And I had to think about it. As I got older, I realized something. I'm upset at my mom, but my mother's reasoning for leaving was she came to the United States to make money, and she was sending money, clothes, and items back home for my benefit, so I could eat, so my sister could eat, and she was taking care of us still while she was abroad. My dad lived on the same island, and my dad would only come get us on the holidays. He would come get us like on Christmas break. He would come get us when school was out. And I remember being 11 and thinking, he's retired. Why didn't he just come get us full time? Because even if we didn't have my mom, we could have lived with our father full time, my sister and I. And it was because in my 30s, I had a conversation with my mother. My father was upset at my mother for leaving. My father expected my mother to be financially dependent on him long term. And when my mother took her power back into her own hands, she left the country. She went to make her own money that was not dictated by an individual. Because when he was upset, he would leave, not leave any money in the house, so then she would have to try to fend for herself and figure it out, which is essentially financial abuse. And that was an attempt to control her and her behavior. And when she was like, I'm not tolerating this and I'm not putting up with this, he was mad. And I remember my dad, when I was younger, saying that my mom abandoned us. And that's where the thought and the anger came in, like, yeah, she left us, but you also left us too. And the reason why he didn't have us full time was because he was mad at my mom. So because my mom wasn't around and he couldn't have access to my mother, it was easy to discard his own children and only periodically stop by and blame her for his decision. And I have, in a sense, repeated that cycle in my own life. And one thing about me is I'm very independent. I'm not hyper independent, but I'm very independent. And I'm an individual that a lot of people have discounted, where I'm underestimated a lot. But if I'm anything, I know how to make something out of nothing. I will always make something out of nothing. I am not lazy. I have lazy moments, but I'm not lazy. So the same grave that is dug for me will always be the one that you fall in. And I realized that, in a sense, I have experiences the same circumstances that my mom has. And as I get older and I have my own experiences, I have let go a lot of the resentment and anger that I had as a child for my mother, because now I could imagine how hard it was for her to make the decision she's made for the benefit of her children. Because what if my mom never came here to this country? What life would I have? What life would my other siblings, who my mother helped bring at least 5 of my siblings to this country by herself, all of them, and their children, not just my siblings and their children. And my mother would have never been able to do that if she didn't have the courage to leave and not just say, okay, I'm going to acquiesce to my husband and I'm going to stay and I'm going to keep quiet. And that reminds me of all of the videos that I watch and I see where men are trying to get women to submit, and they care about submission, and it's really just an act of control. That men, in order for them to escape being better individuals, they just want to assert control, similarly to how the slave masters just wanted to control their slaves without them having to elevate into better human beings. And that dynamic is seeming ever present, even with women taking back their power, women not centering their lives around relationships, women focusing on themselves and their well-being, women focusing on making decisions that will make their lives easier. And when I look at how the world is changing, I wish that I can go back and do it over. Because back when I was growing up, I didn't have anyone to give me that kind of advice. Now, even if your family does not give you advice, you can go on TikTok, you can go on Instagram, you can watch YouTube videos, you can learn from your internet aunties, you can learn from the world, so you can have information that helps you make informed decisions. And I'm grateful that I'm self-aware and I've woken up, but at the same time, I felt like I've done my children a disservice, and it's now my duty to ensure that they do not repeat the cycle, like the cycle stops with me, and they do not enter a life of hardship just because they feel that it's their obligation to, or just because they are trying to create a family that they wish that they had, or they're trying to please another person, or they're making excuses. Because sometimes you encounter individuals that clearly don't deserve you. They are aware that they don't deserve you. They are aware they should not have access to you. And when you give them a chance, they are more resentful and angry of you for giving them a chance. That when you leave and you take back your power and you take back your grace, that they fall apart and they're scrambling. And I've always been a person that when I'm done, I'm done. But I've learned to be a person of, you don't even deserve access to me from the get-go. And that does not make me cocky. That does not make me arrogant. That doesn't mean that I think that I'm better than anybody. It just means that you don't deserve to be in my presence, because I'm too valuable and you're going to mishandle me. There are some people that lack the capabilities and the capacity to see their own greatness, that they could never see yours. And if I could pinpoint when in my life I was able to come to that point of view and what brought me there, I will say, firstly, it was seeing myself and seeing what I had to offer, like actually sitting down and recognizing all the things about me that are valuable, the characteristics that I have that facilitate the greatness that occurs in my life. It would be seeing that I deserve to be happy and accepting that I deserve to be happy. Understanding that love is not a sacrifice. Understanding that people who care about you do not overwhelm you and do not try to make you feel guilty about anything or your decisions. People who want the best for you would not be upset about you making a decision that's best for you. And understanding that other people are not your responsibility, and it's not your job to save anyone or fix anyone. It's just your job to meet people as they are and experience them. And if it works, it works. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. And not being afraid to be intentional about your decisions, because a lot of times you will see the problem, the same problem at the beginning, that's going to be the reason why you end it all. But you'll ignore it, or you justify why it's there, instead of saying, I'm going to take action. I see this bad behavior. What am I going to do? And I can't change another person because they are who they are. So I can only make a decision about what I'm going to do. And the only thing you can do is remove yourself. And when you do remove yourself, if you have to remove yourself one time, there's no reason for you to go back and forth. I see a lot of people making videos about going back and forth with their first love or their ex and stuff. And I'm like, that's a waste of your time. You're allowing yourself to be distracted, because if that was your love and it was so great, there would have never been an opportunity. People who really care about you don't create circumstances and opportunities to lose you.